These guys in bear skins were so mad that even their own people were afraid of them. During a fight, they turned into a real natural disaster. They swung their axes like there was no tomorrow and completely ignored the concept of personal space. Who are they? Where did they come from? And why did even seasoned Vikings prefer to stay away from them? Let's figure it out. Vikings against the backdrop of Europe, a bolt from the blue. 8th century, Europe. Christian kingdoms live in relative peace. Well, not peace, they regularly fight with each other, of course. And then they appear on the horizon, northern robbers. Vikings are masters of unexpected invasions. They were like a noisy neighbor with a drill. You don't know when it will start, but you are sure that it will end loudly and with consequences. These guys would ride down from the fjords on their drakers and leave behind devastated shores. By the 9th century, all of Europe knew about them. From England to Spain, you couldn't be sure that the morning would start off peacefully. But even among the Vikings, there were those who stood out for their madness. Berserkers. There were legends about them. Berserkers, who are they? The word berserker comes from Old Norse berserker, which translates as bear shirt. And this is not just a metaphor. These warriors dressed in bear skins to instill fear in their enemies and feel a connection with the spirits of animals. Berserkers did not wear iron armor, but why? Their main weapon was not armor, but rage. When a berserker fell into his battle trance, logic ran away faster than his enemies. He could not notice who was in front of him, an enemy, a friend, or a person who just came to ask for directions. In such a state, the berserker was akin to a hurricane, beautiful, powerful, but very dangerous to approach too close. Before the battle, the berserkers staged such a rehearsal of madness that the troupe of actors nervously smoked on the sidelines. They nodded their shields, as if they wanted to apologize for an unfinished meal, and shouted so that the courage of their neighbors dissolved into thin air. This was not just a mood for a fight, but a one-way ticket to chaos. No one promised returns or guarantees. Where did they come from? The roots of the berserkers go back to the ancient Germanic tribes, where the concept of dress code was reduced to animal skins and a minimum of textiles. Even the Romans, who had seen everything, mentioned these guys in the chronicles. They say that the warriors are almost naked, but confident. Frost resistance was probably their hidden weapon. The Scandinavians made this practice cult. Snorri Sturluson, essentially the first PR agent of the berserkers, wrote about them with respect and slight fear. They were as furious as bears, as strong as wolves, and in battle they even switched to an animal vibe with their souls. Imagine what it was like for the enemies if even such a master of the epic chose his words carefully. And they also had colleagues. Not only bears, types of berserkers in the company of berserkers, you could meet, Ulfhednar, those who wore wolf skins. They were called wolf heads, and they were famous for their incredible agility and fury. Joffre, rare fighters in boar skins. Their helmets were decorated with boar heads. A little strange, but probably extremely frightening. Battle trance, the secret of their rage. The state of battle trance among berserkers was called Berserkergang. This is when a person stops feeling fear, pain and a sense of reality. How did they achieve this? There are different versions, decoctions. Some believe that before the battle, berserkers drank herbal decoctions. Under their influence, it is easy to believe that you are a bear, ready to tear the enemy apart with its paws. Tough training and rituals. From early childhood, berserkers were prepared to have their consciousness turn off in the face of danger. Injuries and the psyche. Being a warrior, constantly seeing death and having nothing but a sword, an axe, and a dream of Valhalla can turn anyone into a walking volcano of emotions. Each of these theories has a right to exist. Perhaps, all at once created that cocktail of madness that we know as berserk. Why were even their own afraid of them? Berserkers were so unpredictable that even their allies preferred to avoid them. They could rush into battle so furiously that they forgot who was theirs and who was a foe. It was not easy to be with them in peaceful life either. Berserkers often lived separately, in forest huts or small groups. They were not interested in agriculture, crafts, and were certainly not exemplary family men. What is the point of a family if your goal is to die on the battlefield and get to Odin's feast? Berserkers not only defeated enemies, but also worked as bodyguards for earls. And some went to work in distant Byzantium, becoming part of the personal guard of emperors. In the Cathedral of St. Sophia in Kiev, you can still see an image of these legendary warriors as if a reminder, history remembers them, and the fear of them still lives. The end of the Berserker era. With the advent of Christianity, the Scandinavian view of heroism changed. What was previously considered valor suddenly became synonymous with savagery. In the 10th century, laws began to be introduced prohibiting bare skins and similar extreme manifestations. Now, for maniacal cries and bloody frenzy, one could be sent to meet with a judge, and not to Valhalla. Berserkers who did not want to exchange their bare coats for civilized clothes and manners faced a harsh reality: they were either banished or sent to the next world with acceleration. By the 11th century, these wild guys remained only in legends and, perhaps, in the memories of a couple of their enemies, who still touched their scars with a nervous chuckle. Berserkers today, myths and reality. Today, the word berserker has become a household word. We use it to describe those who rush forward without thinking about the consequences. But the berserkers were not just mad warriors. They embodied the spirit of their era, a time when fear and rage were not weaknesses, but strengths. If you liked the video, click like. Any thoughts? Write in the comments. And to make sure you don't miss a new video, subscribe. It's done. Thanks, friends.